To all the viewers. Today we have the Indian ambassador here at Trongsa with us to talk about the hydropower projects in Bhutan and also the Indo-Bhutan relationship. His Excellency joined as a Bhutanese ambassador in August this year. Thank you so much, Excellency, for being with us tonight here. First and foremost, Excellency, just few months as an ambassador to Bhutan. How is it going right now?
Thank you very much, and let me start by saying that I'm delighted to be here in Trongsa. As you know, this is my first visit to this part of your beautiful country. I'm delighted to be here because there are a number of projects that the government of India is doing in this part of Bhutan. And of course, one of the most important projects that we're doing here is the Mangdechu hydroelectric project. You also asked me about how I've been in Bhutan for just a few months. Let me say that I was so warmly received and welcomed in your beautiful country that I feel very much at home. And I have traveled a little bit in Bhutan, but to Trongsa, this is my first visit, and I'm delighted to be here. Well, I feel very, very comfortable. The weather is beautiful in this time of the year. And I didn't realize that Trongsa was such a beautiful part of Bhutan. Bhutan is a lovely country, but Trongsa is very, very special. I feel that this is a very, very beautiful valley in Bhutan.
We have seen so many reports on media saying that the Indian ambassador, just joining after his within few months, have visited many of the hydropowers in the country. What is the very purpose of your visit here at Mangdechu hydropower project?
Yeah. See, as you know, hydropower is an important area of cooperation between India and Bhutan. And some of the projects that India and Bhutan are doing together have been visited by me. I started by visiting the Chukha hydroelectric project, which is a project which was done by our two countries many, many years ago. The idea was to see something that we had done together. After that, I have visited both the Punat Sangchu 1 and Punat Sangchu 2 projects. And this time, the main objective of my visit here is to visit the Mangdechu hydroelectric project. And I am very happy that I have come here so early in my term in Bhutan, because I intend to visit the project at regular intervals from time to time to take stock of how the project is moving ahead and moving forward. Chukha was the first hydroelectric project that India and Bhutan did together. So it has a very special place in our history. And the reason for my visiting the Chukha hydroelectric project was basically to learn from history. What were the things that we did right? What were possible things that we didn't do so well? And I think learning from history is important in ensuring that the hydroelectric projects that we are doing currently are done well and will proceed well.
You have visited so many hydropower projects now.
Yeah.
Punat Sangchu 1, Punat Sangchu 2 and Mangdechu.
Yeah.
Do you think the projects are progressing well?
Let me talk specifically about Mangdechu, because the purpose of my visit here is to inspect the Mangdechu hydroelectric project. I have been at the project site and many of you accompanied me today. I have spent the whole day at the project site. Let me say that I am very, very satisfied with the progress of this project. Let me also say that I feel that this project is proceeding so well that my guess, my estimate is that the project is going to be completed bang on schedule by the end of 2017. And I also think that the Mangdechu hydroelectric project is going to set a new bar or a new norm for the way in which India and Bhutan do hydroelectric projects, do such projects, in the sense that the efficiency and the proficiency with which this project is moving ahead and moving ahead exactly on schedule is something which in the future we will learn from, and this is going to be a successful example of our bilateral cooperation.
Excellency, you have visited Punat Sangchu 1 recently.
Yes.
There you might have seen the cost escalations being,
Yeah.
and also there was some cost escalation here in Mangdechu recently.
Yeah.
Now, looking at these figures, now cost escalations,
Right.
will Indian government still continue to help if this cost escalations still occur?
Look, some part of the cost escalation happens because of increase in prices. Increase in prices in Bhutan, increase in prices in India. So some part of the cost escalation is purely the price effect. Because when you do estimation of the cost, you do it at the current prices. But hydroelectric projects and such big projects, as you know, take a long time to complete. It's in the very nature of such big projects. So some part of the cost escalation is natural because of increase in prices. Some part of the cost escalation can come because of changes in the definition and in the terms on which the project is being done. And I think most of the projects that we have done together, India and Bhutan have done together, have largely stayed on time and in cost. So I would say that the escalation in price is more or less a monetary increase in the value of the project, and therefore should not cause us too much concern. As far as India is concerned, I think we are committed to our target of 10,000 megawatts by 2020. We'll have to see whether we can actually achieve this target by 2020. If not by 2020, very soon thereafter. But I can assure you and your viewers that India, the government of India, is committed to this goal and this target, which we have set together between the people of India and the people of Bhutan.
Excellency, construction of other hydropower projects like Sunkosh, Kurigongri and Jamkarchu.
Yeah.
How is the progress going on?
Look, let me tell you that, as you know and as your viewers know, that we have a large number of hydroelectric projects which we already have on the table. Not just the 3 intergovernmental projects which we have mentioned on your show, but also the joint venture projects. There are 4 joint venture projects, and Kholongchu is the first of them. The shareholders agreement was signed just a few days ago in Thimphu. So the first of the 4 joint venture agreements is going well. Let us complete the remaining 3 hydroelectric projects in joint venture mode. And I think that we have enough on our plate. We should focus on these projects first. We should complete them, while at the same time looking at what can be future projects, whether it is Kurikungri or some other project. The government of India is open to these projects. We are committed to our goal of 10,000 megawatts by 2020 or very soon thereafter. And I feel that we should take up these projects, but when the time is right and when the time is ripe for such projects.
We have so many issues on the, climate changes issues. People say that the climate change is happening. Right. And many believe that it is taking place in Bhutan. Now, constructing of more hydropowers in Bhutan, do you think it will be a long-lasting milking cow?
Yeah. Look, as far as I am concerned, I am very impressed by the government of Bhutan, the royal government of Bhutan, and the people of Bhutan's approach to maintaining forest cover in Bhutan. I think you have been very, very successful, and in fact, Bhutan should be a case study of how you increase the area under forest. So I think Bhutan has done extremely well on protecting its environment and thereby by protecting its own climate. But obviously climate change is not restricted by borders or boundaries. So changes all over the globe are also impacting Bhutan. But as far as I am concerned, I think Bhutan has done extremely well on protecting its environment, and other countries, including India, can learn from your experience.
You have been stressing that you are being impressed by the progress of the Mangdeju hydroelectric project. Yes. Specifically, would you say why?
See, I think these big projects always have a certain time schedule. And the fact that at Mangdechu they're stuck to the time schedule, very broadly they're bang on time, gives me a lot of hope. I am very, very satisfied with the way the project is progressing, and therefore it leads me to believe and to say it to you loud that I think this project will be completed on time. And when it is completed on time, I think that this project can become a case study of how to do such projects correctly. I think this will be a very good example which we and maybe other countries should also follow. Hydropower is just one of the many areas in which our 2 countries cooperate together and work closely together. Another area is education. And as a result of our close cooperation in the field of education, our two people also are very close to each other. Third is tourism. There is a increase in the number of high-paying tourists from India coming to Bhutan, and I think they are increasingly happy to come to Bhutan. I know for a fact that Drukher has recently started a flight to Mumbai, and I have met a number of tourists coming from Mumbai, and I can tell you that they are delighted to be in your beautiful country. They are high-paying tourists who contribute greatly to the economy of Bhutan. There are many other areas in which we work together. Road building, for example, is one. Building the education area in Bhutan is another, in the field of education. So there are many areas in which we work together. But I think what is most important is the fact that the people of India and the people of Bhutan identify very closely with each other. And this is the basis on which our friendship and our partnership is based. The fact that Prime Minister Modi visited Bhutan as the first country which he visited outside India after taking over office is an important signal of the great significance that the government of India places on this partnership.
As an ambassador to Bhutan, during your tenure, what areas would you like to focus to strengthen the relationship between the two countries?
Sure. Let me say something which I have been saying quite regularly, that as far as Bhutan is concerned, it is for the people of Bhutan to define what their priorities are. And if these priorities are things in which the government of India or the people of India can contribute or assist, we'll be very happy to do so. Having said that, let me say that my own priorities are to further strengthen the strong bonds of friendship, cooperation and partnership which exists between our two countries. And there are many areas in which we do this. There are many areas in which we can continue doing this. And it will be my effort to strengthen these bonds of partnership between our two countries. Let me also say one point here, that when I talk of partnership, I mean that this is a two-way street, that India benefits and Bhutan benefits. And that's why I look at this as a two-way street, a win-win situation, and a very strong partnership.
Excellency, what field do you see the most important and would you like to focus on to strengthen the relationship between the two countries?
Well, there are many, many fields which are important. I think hydropower is not unimportant, education is very important. Perhaps I think what we should do, and India can also learn from Bhutan in this area, is to try working together in the field of sports, because this is an area in which both our countries have their own strong points, and I think both can benefit from each other. Of course, which sports we must focus on, which particular events we must focus on is something that we have to decide. But I would like to think that this is an area of great potential between our two countries.
Hydropower projects, as you said, Bhutan has been protecting its environment. When you have visited all these projects, do you feel that we have done enough to protect our environment? What is it?
As I said earlier, I think Bhutan has done extremely well in environmental protection. I made a point to ask this question even today here to the authorities at Mangdechu. I know that when environmental clearance is given, there are strict instructions that the Royal Government of Bhutan lays down for such project authorities of afforestation, of corporate social responsibility for helping the people in that area. And I am convinced that all these conditions are very, very important, and the project authorities are sticking to them, and that they are helping to afforest areas if they have deforested some, so that the total forest area in Bhutan continues to rise as it has been doing over the last few years. So I think Bhutan is doing an excellent job on environmental protection, and I think frankly that many countries including India can learn from your example.
As an ambassador to Bhutan,
Yes.
which area do you think that Bhutanese need to focus on at this present scenario, and in which areas do you feel that the Indian government should lend help to Bhutan?
I have been here for a few months now, and I have been thinking about this very, very strongly. I think there are two areas which I would like to give my advice, and this is only advice because I think it's for the people of Bhutan to make their own decisions. One is definitely agro-processing. I think there is scope for expanding agro-processing in Bhutan, and as I said earlier, the Indian market is large and growing. All the agro-processed foods and foodstuffs that you want to sell in India can be absorbed in India. So you don't have to look beyond India for a market. I think there's a second area which I would like to suggest as a piece of advice. My own gut feeling after being here for a few months is that we need to increase the vocational and technical education in Bhutan so that there will be people at that level of knowledge. For example, in the construction industry, I know that there is a shortage of carpenters, of plumbers, and such kind of jobs, which are in plentiful today in Bhutan, but there are not enough people to fill those jobs. So I would suggest that we expand technical and vocational education in Bhutan, apart from, of course, the standard education of doing a graduation and a post-graduation and so on. I think that is a very good area for us to work together in expanding job opportunities in Bhutan.
We have rupee shortage in one hand, in other hand, the economy is not good in the country. Do you feel that the Bhutanese economy is really having a problem right now?
No, a couple of years ago there was a problem of high inflation, which also led to a shortage of rupees and so on. But I think over the last 2 years, the Royal Government of Bhutan has done an excellent job. They have stabilized the situation. I think what is required is not very rapid growth, but high sustained growth, which also increases the employment opportunities for ordinary people in Bhutan. And I think the economy has now stabilized and the stage is set for a slight increase in the rate of growth of Bhutan, which will be which can be sustained and which will also create jobs for ordinary people. So I think Bhutan's economy today is in a good position, and in the coming 2 or 3 years it is going to grow quite well.
Okay, so in the field of rupee crisis, when we go to our poorer towns,
Yes.
Excellency, most of the traders, since we depend on every import from India, most of the imports are done from India and from the bordering towns.
Okay.
Now people have started, they are saying that if we have to buy something and pay in Niltrum, they are now charging us, our people, extra for the purchase.
Okay.
Do you think that this is advisable?
No, this is not advisable at all. I think it is very clear that the exchange rate between the rupee and Noltrum is 1:1. It's fixed, and that is the official rate at which such transactions should be done. So I am very clear that the exchange rate is tied to 1 Noltrum being equal to 1 Indian rupee. So I can't see this as changing, and I don't think that we should let it happen.
Excellency, your comments on the hydropower projects.
I think the hydropower projects are a win-win situation for both Bhutan and India. I think we should continue doing what we have been doing. And as I said earlier, I think the Mangdechu hydroelectric project is coming along very, very well. It is going to create a new norm, a new standard of efficiency, efficacy, proficiency of doing such projects. Once again, let me say I'm delighted to be in Trongsa, which is a very beautiful part of your lovely country. And I hope and I promise that I will come here more often.
Excellency, may not be a relevant question to you, but just would like to ask. Recently, we have so many abduction cases from Gelefu area.
Yeah.
Now, to solve these problems, what is Indian Embassy doing?
Well, let me tell you very clearly that we take this problem very seriously in India. And we are aware that there are certain elements in the border areas on the India-Bhutan border who are operating and who are indulging in this kind of kidnappings for ransom. The government of India does not subscribe to this at all. We are against such elements, and I think the security forces of India and Bhutan are already cooperating very closely to ensure that such a situation does not continue. And I am quite confident that in the coming months, in the coming few weeks, we'll be able to sort out this issue by cooperating closely as we have always done.
Yes. Thank you so much, Excellency, for being here with us tonight. With this, we come to the end of our program tonight. As Excellency said, hydropower projects in Bhutan is a win-win situation, and he found that the Mangdechu hydropower project in particular is doing very well during his visit. Thank you so much for watching us.